I hear your story, Shashank, I feel like you have literally your own professional journey has grown along with India's startup ecosystem journey. How do you see your own journey as well as the Indian startup ecosystem journey evolving?
So I think we've come a long way as a country. And
Correct.
if you fail, you have learnings from that.
My mom, she lives in Chandigarh. Yesterday, she returned from the US. The first thing she told me is, "Yaar, ye US kitna piche hai?"
This is what is happening across age segments.
Yeah.
Where we are recognizing that I think AI, all these factors are only right now attempting to fill up gaps.
So Tata Mumbai Marathon is a big stage, right?
Yeah.
You being a Mumbaiker,
Yeah.
you would know. There are about 60,000 folks who are attending the event, like as participants, and then about 10 lakh people come in to just watch
Okay.
across the city. So that's when I thought, because I feel running or triathlons are very selfish sports. Essentially, you're doing it for yourself. Why not use it as a tool to create more
I
awareness?
think it's brilliant. When I saw it first time, I was like, "Ye acha hai."
Yeah, I mean, it's an oxymoron. Like, despite the constraints in your personal and professional life, you can still take out time for your health and fitness. And more so got highlighted. This was pre-COVID days, actually.
Okay.
When I started doing it, I was always a content creator. Over the last 5-6 years, through my podcast or various other short form, long form, I was also another paid creators on the roster of TikTok, Hello, and those all those platforms. So I've always tried to disseminate science-based facts and something that is easy for anyone, not like gyan and not longevity this and this, that, all of that. Brian type ka cheese, that is different. So then this was like a tool which I thought, let's do that, and it's stuck with me. In fact, I've been writing a book also called Marathon in Suit, becoming top 1% in life and work. So fitness is just like a platform, but how that mindset can help you to unlock in your startup journey, in your profession or life in general. Because I think once you become like that top 1% or 0.1% mentality, it just automatically flows in any areas, every area of your life. So that's how it started.
Interesting.
Anyways, thank you so much, Shashank, for coming to the show. I think we've been discussing for quite some time. We've known each other for about 4-5 years now.
Couple of years, yes.
We spoke once. I remember I
When
was
you were in Dubai and I was in
through Swati, and then we are obviously in touch. So great to see you rise dramatically, almost, like the poster boy of early, say, startup in India, and also the amazing newsletters that you bring out. So much value. So thanks.
Thanks for having me here, and we've been coordinating this for quite some time. I'm super excited to be here and getting into a conversation with you.
Thank you. Let's talk about 247 VC. How did it all culminate while you've been in the VC scene for the longest time? When did you take the plunge to start a startup for per se?
Sure. No, 24/7 VC has, I think, been in process for, I would say, last 15 years.
Oh, wow.
If you really come to think about it, because I have been an operator myself. I was the founding member for a startup called VC Circle. I launched it and set it up in Bombay. I was heading their research database platform, the SaaS platform called VCC Edge in 2009. So having built that out, it had a very specific vantage point because we were building a product for the PE VC industry. And that obviously gave me excellent insights into a very upcoming ecosystem. And it got acquired. We saw an outcome being driven, and then obviously that pulled me towards making direct investments. And my journey of direct investments started in 2016 through a cross-border US-based fund, accelerator fund, and we did 16 odd investments up till 18, and then 18 onwards is when I started doing my angel investments. But obviously we wanted to kind of set up a fund, make it more institutionalized. So that's when 100x.vc happened in 19 to 24. We had 2 funds. We deployed in 180 companies.
Wow.
And all the 15 years of experience, I think the next obvious chapter in my life would have been how to kind of use these experiences and bring it on to the next level of startup. So 24/7 VC, which is a Cat 2 fund. We are a 250 crore fund, $30 million. We intend to now invest in companies with a check size of 2 CR to 5 CR.
Right.
And across, while we're sector agnostic, but across domains which include enterprise tech, deep tech, frontier tech, industry 5.0, advanced manufacturing, and consumer tech.
Right.
And the whole reason behind this was that the whole pre-seed and seed ecosystem has evolved ever since 2009 when I started a startup to building a product to serving the private equity industry. And there weren't any VCs then, to seeing VCs emerge, but still having a pre-seed and seed gap, to having built out and invested in a very large set of 180 pre-seed companies, highly risky assets, and at that stage, to seeing many of these companies go to a Series A, B, and reaching their escape velocity, to now understanding that there's a play for another fund which can relook at seed as a definition, because Indian startup ecosystem has evolved, and thereby increasing the check size and saying why not invest 2 CR to 5 CR in 30 very curated set of startups, and hoping to back high growth founders and winners, right? And that's where the whole journey started. Jagnesh and I have known each other for 7.5 years, who's my co-founder at the fund, and it just felt a natural progression to join hands again. And he's quite complementary to my skill sets. He's been an ex-CFO. He's also been an operating partner with a large VC firm called Bessemer Venture Partners.
Right.
So both of us come with a vantage point of having built out businesses, large businesses, and bringing in that edge of operator VC, which is what we call ourselves, right? And that's how 24/7 VC happened. And it's just started. So a long way to go, miles to go, as they say.
No, as I'm sitting here, when I hear your story, Shashank, I feel like you have literally, your own professional journey has grown along with India's startup ecosystem journey, when back in 2007-8, when nobody had even heard about online transactions and all, and small fledgling companies like Paytm and Flipkart were coming on board. I think that's when you started. And then along the way, it's been about now 16-17 years, maybe close to 2 decades, when India's actually made a mark around the world. And your experience has been like that. But that brings me to a couple of questions. That earlier, there was a lot of hustle culture कि भाई ये टूट गया तो इंडिया का जुगाड़ मेंटालिटी एंड हसल करना है, हमारे को निकालना है, कुछ बनाना है, सीड राउंड और कुछ राउंड्स रेस करके निकल जाना है. एंड नाउ इट्स द एंटायर इकोसिस्टम हैज इवॉल्व्ड एज वेल, मे बी बिकॉज अ फ्यू burnt hands here and there, lot of experiences. How do you see your own journey as well as the Indian startup ecosystem journey evolving?
No, I think we've come a long way as a country. I think when the whole PVC ecosystem started, and this was, I think, way back in 2002-3, and then you had the 2007 crisis, 8 crisis, sorry, and post which we started seeing a bunch of private equity funds come into India. A lot of investment started happening, but this was from a private institution play, and then you had promoters who had not essentially built out startups but had built out legacy businesses, 10-15 years old, right? The missing piece was the government, right? What changed fundamentally for the ecosystem was some of these startups with a very handful of VCs started getting funded from 2009 to, let's say, 15, right? And 16 is when the Startup India initiative started, where the government started recognizing startup as a body. So if you start a company today, you have benefits of not paying tax for the first 3 years.
Right.
If you're registered under DPIT for 7 years, you're considered a startup. You can take benefits, right? Startup India also has a fund under SIDBI, which gives money for startups to funds, right? So they were empowering funds also. Okay, please start your funds, take money from the government, start deploying to what to 2025, where we are today. We are seeing that government has gone so verticalized that they're saying, I'm allocating X budget for deep tech, Y budget for industry 5.0, Z budget for agri-tech, health tech, right? So what has happened fundamentally is the maturity of the ecosystem has happened, where government support, private investors, and startups, second-time entrepreneurs who've built out businesses understand the process of value creation, right? कि मैं employment दे पा रहा हूँ, मैं product बेच पा रहा हूँ, and I want to be my own boss kind of a mindset, right? yes, we've had instances where people like, yeah, media mein news chapegi, so I'll be a good poster boy, I'll be happy, my friends, I'll get recognition. You still have those kind of founders, but then what has happened over the last 10 years now is that you're seeing a lot of these guys who've matured and built up businesses and employing 1,000, 1,500
Correct.
kind of folks, right?
Correct.
And that's very empowering, right?
Correct.
And when you get validation even from financial support from a VC, and then you're able to build and grow product, and then let's say being consumed by international geographies, seeing the product being pushed into US, Southeast Asia, I think the overall ecosystem maturity has come like it's not only about money raising.
Correct.
It's about that I build something. Can I also take learnings from experienced investor who can not only give me smart capital, but capital
Problem
with
solving.
distribution, right? Like product validation. Can I go to an enterprise customer? How do you take a deep tech R&D company to commercialization? What are the kind of investors who can help me out with those kind of problems, right? And at the core of this is the founder's mindset. That I feel India is a huge market. The sense and the pride कि यार मेरे को अब US नहीं जाना है,
Correct.
मुझे यूरोप नहीं जाना है. इंडिया में अगर मैं अपनी छोटी दुकान खोलूँ इंदौर, नोएडा, चंडीगढ़, Cochin, with the internet connectivity and so many other benefits, data being cheap,
Correct.
we both of us would have at least 1,000 GB unused on our plans, right?
Yeah.
Which is unheard of in any other country.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So what has happened is because of all these things, I think all these factors have made, I think, generally all Indians proud of where they are right now. Instead of saying कि यार काश मैं US जाके कुछ कर लेता, right? There's enough opportunity being created here. And I think that realization by founders कि मैं ये opportunity अभी ढूंढ के इस पे मैं बनाता हूँ, capital भी है, government support भी है, taxation भी correct है, I have benefits, I have subsidies if I'm doing a hardware startup,
Correct.
I have grants from incubation centers like BIRAC, semiconductor, GPUs, schemes, right? Why not?
And most importantly, acceptance from customers.
Acceptance from customer, and then मेरा घर है यहाँ पे यार, घर में मेरे mom dad भी हैं. All these things are coming in, and I've seen this, come all together where founders are saying, boss, I can build, I have customers enterprise, I have large consumer brands, we've invested in a bunch of consumer brands, we've gone ahead to the extent of invested in a very interesting company, which was a chips brand, Kerala Banana Chips.
Right.
It's the most common thing you'll see in India.
Correct.
They were able to build a brand in India and sell it to the Gen Z.
Correct.
And now it's a prominent brand, right?
Correct. Correct.
And competing with the likes of the large international brands. So everything is possible. And I think all of this coming together, the government initiative, plethora of experienced fund managers, both in India and the folks who moved from US, bringing in those best practices, the founders' ability to absorb those best practices in building enterprise solutions, deep tech solutions,
Correct.
has changed this ecosystem. Today, a fresher coming out of a college is not only confused ki how am I going to run this company. If he gets or if she gets the right investor, those best practices also flow in, right?
Correct.
And ये combination is I think a very unique vantage point जिससे companies का probability of success is increasing now.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
This was a missing piece 10 years ago.
Right. Right.
And there was a lot of hard work. And this is what I keep saying to all the founders today, that you have no excuse today not to build, because 10 years ago, entrepreneur's journey was much harder.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have access to capital. We didn't have engagements like this.
Absolutely.
You didn't have visibility. You didn't have LinkedIn approachability. VCs never used to come on your door and knock. Today, every VC wants to get into the right and the most high growth company, right?
Correct.
So the time is by far
Huge.
the best.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
So that's I think that's the motivation behind starting 24/7 VC, because there are enough domestic businesses being built out. We have now suddenly become the most digitally connected
Correct.
economy, the most populated economy, and the most aspirational tier 2, tier 3 geography, right?
Right.
So there's consumption, there's penetration, there's distribution channels. All you need to do, you and I just need to build a product.
Correct.
And let's see who wins, right?
Correct.
Enough competition, less competition, enough competition. So
Correct.
there's, whoever is able to survive this, wins. And if you fail, you have learnings from that to build something else, which is a very popular concept in Silicon Valley.
Correct.
Right? So वो mindset भी हट गया कि यार मैं startup कर रहा हूँ,
failure
और startup का fail भी हो गया, अरे यार हाय तोबा मुझे अब जाना, वो सब हट गया है अभी. Right? And I think this is the biggest advantage. At least this motivates us. कि यार चलते हैं market में जाके देख के आते हैं क्या बनने वाला है. And you find somebody like, let's say, we were talking about Up Coffee's founder. You find that energy, you're like, boss,
absolutely,
let's just join hands and let's figure out how we guys can scale these companies up.
Absolutely. I think beautifully put in terms of, how everything is coming together like a Lego piece, and so many things have to go right for a company to survive, and then eventually the fund to survive and grow and then get follow-on rounds as well.
Correct.
This reminds me when I quit my first job at Tata Motors, second job actually, and I started my own startup called Zopeco.com in 2014. It was a hyper-local grocery startup back in 2014, and eventually we shut down after 2 years. Zopeco.com was something of today's Zepto, because we used to deliver everything in 3 hours. That was our promise. It was we used to have physical stores in every pin code, like co-branded pin stores, and then people stationed over there to be able to deliver to you. And these were essentially like a year before app era started. Apps kind of started taking off in 2015, 16. 16 was like the inflection point for apps. But उससे पहले थोड़ा experimental आता था, gaming होती थी, and Facebook farms and those kind of usable apps nahi thi. And
because data still back then was not as cheap as it is today. That's
correct.
Why
It was
Netflix
slow.
penetration
Correct.
or Amazon. Netflix was, I think, just getting started back then.
Correct.
But not everybody was watching it on the phone, right?
Netflix in India?
In India.
I think that was much later, 2018.
No, 2020. No, we had OTT platform, but not the penetration was
Correct.
there. Whether Netflix or Amazon.
Correct.
Some of these players were there, but not everybody was watching it, let's say, गाड़ी में बैठ के या train के अंदर बैठ के, right?
Correct. That kind of, I think, happened post 2016, 17 when
surged.
Jio, Vio and all came in.
Surged.
2018, Jio came, then it just...
18 onward, it surged. Otherwise, Netflix and Amazon was only being watched on your televisions.
Correct.
With a login.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
The whole mobile app thing was not there.
And
so you're absolutely right.
The moment you mentioned, earlier times, 10 years ago, kitni difficulties hoti thi. Now, like when I see now, like now I've quit my job again for the third time, and I'm thinking, yeah, actually, like the time to market in terms of, the accessibility, the ability to be able to build a POC. For example, back then, if you had to build an app or a portal or something like that, just to get started for 10,000 customers, not more, you had to spend at least 60 to 80 lakh rupees only on getting like the proper infrastructure, engine, front end, back end, everything, a database put together and take it to market. And I'm not even accounting for like the app download and go to market ka costing. You needed probably 2 odd crores just to get a runway of maybe 12 months or so, and then see ki bhai ye product chalega ki nahi. Aaj ke time in like $20 you can build something out and test it out. And then secondly, I think that time there was no support from the consumers also, because everything online was considered as पता नहीं तुम हमारे कौन से पैसे चुरा लोगे या ऑनलाइन ट्रांजैक्शन कैसे होने वाला है. Banks were not equipped. So it was like a completely different generation when you see 2013, 14, 15 versus now. And then second point which you mentioned about not having that feeling of actually moving out of your country and going and finding opportunities in the Bay Area or some other places. You can literally, people are coming back to the country and trying to build solutions, because there is now enough ecosystem of not just, companies, but VCs also, and also the market is mature. And the enterprise customers have also started opening up. All these bigger brands where I've worked, like SBI, HDFC, have build their own startup departments where they're actively investing 30 to 50 CR annually to do the POCs for various use cases. So I think if not today, then I think there's no better time to start up.
It's a big inflection point in the journey of Indian economy.
Startup. Yeah. 100%.
And as a function of the startup ecosystem is benefiting. If you don't put in the effort now, तो ये जो मोमेंटम है गोल्डन पैच पीरियड निकल जाएगा. That's where this is like a once in a lifetime kind of things coming together types. Right?
I mean, when I look at it, I keep right now also I have goosebumps. This is like 95 to 98 का जो वो internet pre-internet.
Correct.
This is like that time.
Yes.
You could just put radio on on the internet and make like $5 billion Cuban kind of exit or whatever, anything that you put on AI or anything that can be scaled.
Not only AI. See, AI is one piece, which is a great flattener. But look at the automation piece across industries. So I'll talk about, let's say, Aaj, despite China being a very advanced economy in terms of manufacturing, there's today so much importance being given to industrial sector and manufacturing in India, right? Supported by government and us investors wanting to invest in these kind of segments. They are leveraging AI, but we are not only doing it AI in terms of backing companies which are AI wrappers for enterprise products. There is a whole plethora of AI horizontal penetration across sectors, right? So AI across health tech, AI across industry 5.0, deep tech, foundational models, right? This across sectors where it's not only पहले बीच में एक D2C का wave आया था कि सभी D2C कर रहे हैं, right? And there was brands being. Today what we when we say that this is a golden era is because we are seeing every vertical, every industry, if I may say so, having the ability to absorb newer products. So I'll give an example. There's a company which we funded a couple of years ago. It's a company named Philo. And I still remember going to Nasik to view their product. They had an IoT device which had to be placed inside in the farm and it will detect moisture levels. And it was essentially being used in grape farms.
Correct.
For vineyards.
Right.
We supplied to vineyards, right? This is way back in 2020, right? Before COVID, right? The company's name is Philo and they're doing exceptionally well today, right? But when I first met them, I saw them, great founders, humble. I mean, it requires a lot of grit to work in that space where you have to sell a digitized product to a farmer. So that
I can imagine.
Right? And motorcycle लेके धूप में जा रहे हैं नासिक के आजू बाजू, right? And they're only going after vineyards, right? Or other farms which are making grapes,
correct,
right?
Correct.
For export either to Indian vineyards or outside. To my mind, my first observation, and this is how biases keep breaking, right? So your bias like farmer थोड़ा ना use करते हैं यार, कौन farmer use करेगा cell phone लगा के digital लगा. हमारी mentality तो हमेशा दूरदर्शन के टाइम से खेत खलियान ऐसे चला रहे हैं, right? Those biases kept breaking over the years when you actively started investing and you started realizing from the founder's side, not my personal insight or investors' insight, from the founder's side, sir, that we've identified a problem. What you're pointing out is not a challenge. मेरा challenge है मेरे को product देखना कि मैं multiply कितना बार बना के दूसरे farmers में डाल सकता हूँ.
Right.
Farmer use करेगा is not my challenge. वो तो कर ही रहा है sir.
Wow.
क्योंकि they are using the most advanced set of technologies or apps to look at data because their end game is मेरे को अपना माल फार्म से निकालना हर महीने इतने भाव में बेचना है और मार्जिन मेरा इतना टका होना चाहिए.
Right.
If you look at the basic math, right?
Correct.
So each company, after having invested in 200 plus companies, each company gave us one insight into the your customer persona, right? And this is what I'm trying to say. The golden opportunity is arising because we are not only seeing this in consumer products or enterprises, but also seeing in industry, SME,
correct,
agri-tech, farmer products, right, which were never looked as an innovative
sexy place
segment.
To spend 5 to 10 years of your life
correct
to solve for.
So now founders are taking plunge in those segments. So just imagine the whole ecosystem is evolving.
Correct.
सारे verticals, सारे sectors खुल गए. BFSI खुल गया आपका, agri-tech खुल गया है. Biotech खुल गया है,
right?
Which is the sector which is not being
absolutely
tapped into, and I think this is the biggest change I have seen personally in the last 15 years. Otherwise, पहले कोई बोलता था या हम hardware company में नहीं, आपने सुना भी होगा कि lot of VCs hardware में नहीं करते. We at a pre-seed stage in a previous fund made at least 25% of our investments in hardware companies. right? Smaller check sizes, right? To now it's become mainstream to a lot of people are doing a lot of hardware, right? That's how fast the ecosystem is evolving. So you can only imagine where 10 years down the line, what you could be building out from India, right? So again, as you can sense, right? Optimism has to be super high, is super high, and the opportunity is there for it not to be.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So from a startup perspective, I think founders have now started realizing that we have the right practices, right processes to build around. If we get smart capital, we get some distribution. We are able to scale the product, distribute the product where people are ready to consume. Case in point, let's say the farmer, the farm owner, right? Then who's stopping us to becoming, a technologically advanced nation?
Correct.
With the most populated country in the world, which is the most digitally connected, right?
Correct.
So these are powerful facts.
Right.
I mean, just a while back we were talking about the blue collar workforce. Now just imagine everything gets integrated, all data sets, everything.
Yeah,
I
that
don't think
just unlocks a
it just
completely
unlocks
new
a different level of value.
Correct.
Different level of value.
I mean, taking a segue from what you just mentioned is how I foresee is coming to your first example कि farmers को कैसे बेचोगे या कोई भी, we always have those biases. But when we were in Yono SBI building India's largest neobank, digital bank back in 16, 17, 18, 19, this is like 8-9 years ago, and even we used to, when we were building it out of Mumbai, we used to think कि अरे ये तो सिर्फ Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad में use होने वाला है, and that's where our most customers will come in. Then we launched a couple of products like instant account opening through digital verification and liveliness. This was we were again the first ones. Then second product I remember launching Yono Pay through we tied up with Titan, and we were the first ones to install a chip, and you could connect it to the Yono app and you can make payments up to through NFC. This was back in 2019, and unbelievable the most amount of new onboarding customers on people who used to, maybe because of affinity to SBI and Titan, we used to see this coming from tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 towns, people trying those Yono Pay, products. And then we launched another product called cashless ATM withdrawals, where you just needed a 6-digit code without needing, debit card or a credit card. I could send you the code, you being in a completely different state. If you have that pin, you directly go to the ATM, put in 6-digit pin, and you can withdraw the money without having to be physically present next to the card as well as the account. And the biggest customers used to be tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 towns. So, we always assume that what will happen over there, these markets are not mature, but जहाँ पे भी ये pull kind of actual problem solving वाला आता है ना, या pull products where let's say there's any loan kind of schemes and all, they are the first ones to actually go and try it out. And we are also amazed कि भाई, and the journeys are broken, they don't care about all of that. If it is solving a problem, they will take it up. So that's the power of the Indian tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 towns. And in fact, like you mentioned that there is enough market in India. अगर आप अपना एक super niche और niche पकड़ लो, तो चाहे even if you're building for senior citizens or Gen Zs or Gen Betas or whatever, I think there is enough market.
सब प्रकार के उम्र के लोग हैं आज.
सब कुछ बेच सकते हो आप. और AI ये सब कुछ नहीं है. हमारे mom dad, हमारे parents भी हैं. They are probably super users of Instagram and all.
You mentioned parents, so users, right? To Instagram, social media, right? The biggest, I think, flattening happened when UPI transactions started to happen, right? And that has gone to the level of senior citizens also. अब पहले वो जाते थे ATM.
Correct.
At least my mother used to say कि यार मुझे ना आज बैंक जाना है. क्यों? ATM से पहले निकालना था बैंक से. फिर आए वो ATM पे क्योंकि उनको पहले सिखाओ. To that now that they're doing UPI transaction because it's seamless, right?
Correct.
Look at what has happened in terms of evolution of a customer. Your 60 to 70-year-old understands some digital transaction or there is a digital awareness through this UPI, democratization, right? To all the way down to a Gen Z, and then you pull out from from a persona perspective to a large enterprise CEO all the way to a panwadi
Correct.
to a sabji wala, right? Now just this data of UPI in terms of the whole last 5-6 years of these digital transactions, this data was never captured earlier, right?
Correct.
Second is, you've created awareness of a gentry which was 50 to 70 years who were never नहीं हमको computer सीख हमें नहीं सीखना, to they actually doing those transactions.
Correct.
This means you've created a channel for them. If you have a senior citizens product to sell to them, which they resonate with, and it has a digital element to it, they'll absorb it now because UPI has kind of, you don't have to create that,
Correct.
teach them how to use it, which was a huge barrier 5-6 साल में. ये कौन use करेगा? वो same farmer वाला mindset, right? ये कौन use करेगा, right? There's so many of these tiny things which have happened, which is psychologically unlocked the customer who's now a customer to any and everybody.
Everyone. Correct.
Right.
I'll tell you a funny story on this. In fact, my mom, she lives in Chandigarh, but sometimes she's here half the time and sometimes she's in Chandigarh. Yesterday, she returned from the US and now she started traveling far more than all of us put together with her own Indian Army wale circle hai, and then she was a joint secretary in government of Haryana, so she has her bureaucrat friends and gym friends and all of that, and they do about 4 to 5 trips in a year. चाहे वो कभी वियतनाम जा रहे हैं, थाईलैंड जा रहे हैं, इधर जा रहे हैं. Yesterday only she returned from the US, landed in Delhi, and the first conversation खुल के थोड़ी बात होती है ना, क्योंकि वहाँ पे आप 10-15 मिनट ही बात करते हो, खा लिया कर लिया. कल आके the first thing she told me is, यार ये US कितना पीछे है. अब मेरे को हर चीज़ के लिए कैश निकालो, $5 $10 पैसे तुड़वाते रहो. They are not very comfortable taking out cards everywhere, but scan करना है UPI. They don't have UPI. She was complaining to me. I was like, कि US कितना पीछे है. And I'm not kidding. This happened last evening, and she was telling me we went to SF. They were in SF for 4 days, and then Vegas and all. हर जगह जाओ, यहाँ से कूपन लो, यहाँ से पैसे निकालो, फिर वो तुम्हें कोई और कूपन देगा, फिर उधर जाओ. I'm like, कितना फालतू है. She was complaining this, and she's 64, and she was like, they are so backward.
So this is a brilliant example, right?
Yeah.
This is what is happening across age segments.
Yeah.
Where we are recognizing that, यार India, जहाँ बैठे हो तो आपको समझ नहीं आ रहा. I'll give you another point. Data. I remember visiting Dubai a couple of years ago, and driving in the car, and somebody was using the cell phone. They looked at the map and they switched it off, and then they started driving. So I was like, keep it on. Like, no, data is too expensive.
Yeah.
I would never think about that.
Correct.
Right? You would never think about that, right?
Yeah.
So, and the example you've given me, right? And now extrapolate this to various other multiple experiences across age groups, across domains, right? That is why the true power कि यार इंडिया में करने को बहुत कुछ है.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
There is, and a big inflection point आ गया. You're seeing a lot of deep tech companies emerge from India. We work with a lot of incubation centers. So पहले लोग कहते थे frivolous कि यार इंडिया में deep tech यार मजाक कर रहे हो क्या? Right? India forever. Deep tech मतलब आप लोग तो IP भी नहीं कर पाते हो. From that to doing actual R&D.
Correct.
To backing those companies, and then they move into commercialization.
Correct.
Some of these companies doing 3 CR to 5 CR, 10 CR a month.
Wow.
And getting follow-on funding.
Yeah.
Right? It's all happening from India.
Correct. Absolutely.
So those inflection points across industries has started happening.
Yeah.
And then that's why when you asked me, like, why 24/7 is because you're endless, seamless opportunities.
Absolutely. 100%.
Right?
Every time I travel I do 2 Ironmans a year, and every time I try to go to different parts of the world. And whenever I come back, पहले 3-4 दिन तो यूरोप जाओ तो बहुत ही obviously you enjoy and wow, amazing roads, this and that. But by the time you just want to, at about 9th or 10th day, you just want to come back because of, let's say, food and all. But at the underlining, day-to-day experiences, when you go out, travel, you have about 15-20 small or big transactions that you do. Yeah. That builds a lot of fatigue in your mind as a seamless experience to travel in the country and all. And then when you come back, you realize that everything is so seamless. You can get this now. तो अभी immigration में भी आपको everything like.
I haven't experienced the international one. कुछ नया है, but obviously I've been using Digi Yatra a lot.
Correct.
Right. Digi Yatra is. If you're going for 2-3 days with no check-in bag.
Correct.
I don't have to worry
Exactly, right? And that saves up so much of your mental faculties. You're not making any
declutters
decisions.
you, right?
Correct.
It frees up your mental space to do whatever do, and there is enough and more to be done, and people are doing. So it's just uncluttering lot of aspects of lives, right? And that's why I think and again, social media, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, right? I think distribution channels have been flattened.
Yeah.
Today you can launch a product, you can
Correct.
distribute it with lower CAC, cost of acquisition. अगर आप intelligently, smartly, frugal तरीके से करो तो बहुत सारे तरीके, जैसे आपने एग्जांपल दिया था कि आज स्टार्ट करने के लिए स्टार्टअप आपको 2 करोड़, पहले आपको सिंपल लॉन्च करने के लिए आपको शायद कम से कम 1-1.5 करोड़ लग जाता, राइट? सो इट्स नॉट difficult now, considering the multiple access of APIs you have, right? And the cost to kind of build it out and then roll it out.
Correct.
And then the opportunity in terms of distribution.
Correct.
Right? And then the very fact that, and this is the big shift, right? People being experimental in terms of wanting to try a newer product.
Right. Correct.
I'm okay. आप जैसे आपने बोला था पहले हम ऑनलाइन पे भाई पैसा चले तो नहीं जाएगा ऑनलाइन पेमेंट, दैट माइंडसेट, राइट? आई एम ओके यार, we'll give a ऑनलाइन पेमेंट ना, कोई नहीं हो रहा, मैं यूपीआई कर रहा हूँ, क्रेडिट कार्ड. पहले वो कुछ 40 साल का माइंड ब्लॉक था जो अनलॉक हुआ है कुछ 10 साल के अंदर.
I being a banker, having worked in SBI, HDFC and whatnot, I don't remember the last time I went to a ATM or having to carry withdrawing 5-10,000 कभी कभार कहीं किसी को कुछ देना है या whatever. अब तो काम वालियाँ भी मतलब दे डोंट टेक कैश एंड ऑल, दीदी यूपीआई कर दो, एंड यू एक बार आप निकाल लो, आई थिंक वो 3-4-5 महीने तक चलता रहता है अनलेस समथिंग इज नॉट वर्किंग आउट. एनीवेज, आई थिंक कमिंग टू द 247 VC and your thesis, you have now built like the blitzscaling startup itself. Within 3 months you've had more than 1,500 applications. We were just discussing.
Yes.
It was in your today's post as well.
Yes.
If someone wants to sort of reach out to you and sort of get funded from you, what are those 3, 4, 5 things that you see in that team, in that person, in the idea? And, is this the right way? Should everyone get funded? So I know it's a kind of longish question. Feel free to.
I mean, there's no straightforward answer to this. I think even from what we are building out at 24/7 VC it is India's go-to seed fund. We are bringing in, both Yagnesh and myself are bringing in the experience of having invested in 200 plus startups at the pre-seed stage, having evaluated 10,000 to 15,000 businesses over the last 5.5 years, invested in 200 and across sectors, and seeing a bunch of these companies fail, but many of these businesses reach escape velocity going Series A and Series B, right? So from product ideation MVP all the way to making large sets of revenue, right? Some of the things which we've looked at, and we've seen founders also maturing. I think 3-4 things stand out when we look at businesses. But these principles are more generic. When you look at certain companies in specific sectors, there are certain additional set of parameters you would want to explore. Right? But broadly speaking, at this stage, you're betting on the founder, right? And now I'll give you a breakdown. So let's say I'm evaluating a deep tech company, and I'm looking at the founder. Now, how would I look at the founder? I would look at founder's experience, right? And complementary skill sets. So if there are a bunch of 2 or 3 founders coming together, that's always beneficial. One person plays the role of a CEO, the other plays the role of a CTO. So business, product, right? Operations, depending on what business they are in.
Correct.
Right? And in a deep tech, you need a CTO/product person to kind of, figure out the efficacy of the product and, what the product roadmap will look at. So these are some of the things which we look at. The other is it's very difficult to say what the TAM would be, right? Total addressable market, because, when the Zeptos came into the existence, or Zomato came in, or, these are the ones on the consumer side, but then there are a bunch of companies. Even for that matter, space tech, which is a segment which we look at, the set of companies which have been invested into Agnikul or Idea Force, which is the Dodge.
You invested in Agnikul?
No, we didn't. I'm saying the kind of companies they've been.
Correct. How do you address the TAM over there?
How would you address the TAM, right?
Correct.
Or Idea Force, which went IPO. जब वो शुरू में आप So,
Correct.
so there is no fixed way of addressing a TAM, right? But you're essentially, again, it correlates to the first point, founders, right? So how they perceive the TAM and how they want to continue pushing even where the TAM doesn't exist, right?
Correct.
So the idea is to create category defining companies.
Right.
And those can happen where you've not essentially mapped it out theoretically कि भाई ये market में TAM ऐसा होता है. It's a blue ocean, right?
Correct.
So TAM definition given by the founder makes a lot of difference to us.
Oh, okay.
Not our ability to determine the TAM,
Right.
right?
Sure.
Third point is obviously their aptitude of making this into a business. I think some of the times when we are evaluating, many founders, and we've seen this time and again, like many times founders fall in love with their product,
Right.
which is good, but not good when you're building a business, because what Reliance is doing today, let's say one division of Geo, and what they were doing 30 years ago in terms of oil refinery, I don't think so the founders back then, or even the founder of many other businesses, Amazon, when they started out to what they're
Correct.
doing now, right? Nobody envisioned that कि ये इस तरह से evolve होगा.
Correct.
But they weren't stuck to one product because they were not, they weren't stuck because they were madly in love with their product. They wanted to build out a business. And that mindset is the third point which we check for, that you need to be able to understand that product is penetrating the market, customer is wanting to have the product, or you need to pivot or you need to reiterate, because at the end of the day, the stickiness or the usability of what you're building has to be super high.
Correct.
It needs to be solving a problem,
Right.
and you are acting as a solution for that,
Correct.
which nobody else is kind of bringing onto the table right now,
Correct.
wherein the blue ocean comes in, right?
Right.
So that sense of business model, of business treating your product and visualizing a business is something which we look at. This is
Correct.
the third point.
Correct.
Fourth is also what is the moat, right?
Correct.
And moat can be defined in many businesses, and some businesses it cannot be defined, right? But it really boils down to how the founder wants to,
The defensibility.
how they define it.
Correct.
Like a coffee brand,
Correct.
right? So it's the founder's energy, right? It's founder's enthusiasm and founder's rigor.
Correct.
That was, I am here to pull up my sleeves, get my hands dirty, go inside, get dirty in the mud, but I will do this, right? So now in consumer, moat is defined differently. In a deep tech and a enterprise is defined. So moat definition, or whether it's in a consumer brand, a function of execution, which is a moat, or in a deep tech or an enterprise tech, it's a function of the specific IP you have, or the specific LLM model you have, or the foundational AI model you've built in, right?
Right.
Or the infrastructure middleware product you've defined which
Correct.
nobody has, and you have a pricing advantage because it's unique, right? And you've built out a tech which is not access. So their ability to define the moat is very important, right? And how they intend to distribute
Correct.
is, and then I think once this is combined, and when we are looking at businesses from these 4-5 points, each sector, then specific nuances, right? What value can I add once we've come on board? If it's a deep tech company moving from R&D to commercialization, what sense of, if I'm funding, then our check size are 2 CR to 5 CR. If I give them 2 CR, will they be able to reach a certain milestone? Can I work with them on a monthly basis to achieve that milestone? This means while they continue to do the BD, can I also enable certain channels, right?
Right.
Because now the value creation has to happen for both of us.
Correct. Absolutely.
Right? I'm also running a business. I need to drive the value, right? I'll exit the business in another 5-6 years. Now, a follow-on investor, for them to invest, their metric and my metric evaluation is different. So can I enable the portfolio company to reach that metric?
Right.
And which is a function of distribution, product market fit, customers, so on and so forth, right?
Correct.
These are the broad parameters we look at when we are evaluating, right? And when a company is approaching 24/7 VC, as I said, pre-seed, seed, right? We prefer that they've built out something tangible, which we can touch, feel, and see an input output.
Correct.
Right? Now, in some cases, it could be existing number of POCs. Some cases it could be traction.
Correct.
Some cases we are very okay with coming in if you've just built a product, and I can only judge input and output if it's a deep tech product. If it's a enterprise tech, I'd love for you guys to have pushed the envelope to saying that I've had 5 paid POCs and 1 or 2 enterprise customer coming on. That shows me the efficacy of the product, the usability of the product.
Correct.
So हर एक segment का अलग value criteria.
Correct.
But either way, the idea is to provide seed capital to founders who need this capital to jumpstart, right? It acts like a launch pad for them to move to the next milestone where they can start growing, let's say 7% on a week, 15% on a monthly basis, and they're able to kind of
build that flywheel,
right? So that's broadly there's no fixed methodology,
right?
But there are no numbers, no financials, right? In some cases you have to register the company. कंपनी नहीं बनी रहती है, LLP होती है. अगर आपने डिसाइड करा कि कंपनी अच्छी लग रही है, प्रोडक्ट बनाओ, तो उनकी LLP से प्राइवेट लिमिटेड आप बनाओगे, then only you can fund them, right? So these are at such stages you're looking at projections, and also not 5-year projections. हम बोलते हैं कि हमको सिर्फ 12 महीने का दिखाइए. 12 महीने मंथ ऑन मंथ तो मुझे समझ आएगा कि भाई 90 दिन में कितना प्रोडक्ट बन के खत्म हुआ, बिका.
Correct.
मैं 5 साल का
doesn't
mean anything to me, right?
Yeah, that Tam Sam Som वाला slide
नहीं,
usually doesn't
बनेगा 1-1.5 साल के बाद आएगा, right?
Correct.
So this stage evaluation is, that's right, coming back to the point, founder, you're backing the founder and you're backing the experience the founders are bringing onto the table.
Correct.
And then now I think because we've done so many investments within this evaluation criteria, a certain type of founder
traits. Founders
कि ये कर पाएंगे या ये नहीं कर पाएंगे, right? And I think after you do a certain set of companies and you've had your own set of bad experiences with founders and good experiences, I think वो एक fifth element एक आ जाता है in terms of evaluation. X factor in terms of evaluation.
Probably from experiences.
From experience.
Cool. But that brings me to the point that it also seems like VC business is a science and a business of pattern recognition, where there are certain elements that you can automate, and then there are certain elements which is human in the loop kind of. Do you think VC business will eventually also get disrupted through AI? Is that a possibility, or will it be like a accelerative kind of a tool for you guys so that you can go and build that 5% $1 billion company or 10% $100 billion company?
Sure. No, I think not at a seed, pre-seed and pre-series A stage. I think VCs need to get their hands dirty when they invest in companies. ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट कर दिया और आप साइडलाइंस में बैठे हो.
Right.
So आप किस बेसिस पे ऑटोमेशन करोगे, right? You will do, let's say, evaluation. फिर आपका कुछ सॉफ्टवेयर बोल देगा कि आप इन्वेस्ट कर दो, आप डाल दोगे. It will be very superficial, right? If it has to be high conviction. It's a game of high conviction, right? Then at this stage, you need to spend an N number of hours with these founders to ensure that they're out of the death valley, because many of them after your funding will be going here.
Correct.
It's basically a marriage, right? You're their spouse, their partner,
Correct.
your father, their son, whatever. ये death valley से आप साथ नहीं journey जा रहे, right? So many of them will go through these parameters. How do you kind of help them ensure and help them reach that consistency, right?
Right.
And VC, I don't think so, is an automated business. What can happen is a certain segment of reporting. Let's say, मैंने डाल दिया, and you have to now send us the MISs, collection of data to ensure your performance. But I can't keep that one-sided automated. I need to speak with you. I need to meet with you. I need to spend time with you.
Yeah.
Right. If I don't do that, I will never have the pulse. And as a founder, you should not take my money if I'm not sitting with you.
Absolutely.
And you're not able to grab my pulse.
Absolutely.
Right. So, ye business, I don't think so. It's a very human. It's a human business.
Correct.
I don't
also
think
a lot of grunt work and being in the trenches.
Trench, yes, but I mean, it is a very people's business. You cannot do it in an automated format. Max to max you can do is automation of. For lack of better example, I'll say there are call centers, and then there are call centers of and products, right? Now you have a Gillette, or you have a consumer brand, which is a product company, and you'll have their call centers also, right?
Correct.
Call center is automated, solving a query.
Correct. But product is
प्रोडक्ट तो खाओगे आप, चखोगे, उसके लिए आपको फिजिकली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है, वो
correct. वो AI क्या करेगा?
तो AI can enable and support, but
Correct.
and this is not only VC industry.
Absolutely.
This is not at all only VC industry. There are some things which it is human based, right? So
Correct.
if the day VCs have to rely 100% on AI, then AI is only will be building the businesses also. Then the startup founders are AI generated, right? So I don't think so that
in many ways this is more of a symbolic question, representing, the general narrative that has been going around.
No.
AI will take away jobs and this and that.
I think we have
missing the point
that is, if I think everybody should. I'm a huge sci-fi fan. So I just recently finished watching the two series I've been watching, which is very interesting to me and it's a learning curve for me also, right? And I two recent series which I saw. One was Dune Prophecy.
Oh yeah.
Season 1, right? And then on Apple TV I saw Foundation, 3 seasons, right? Now look at the storylines and the kind of this is way past humans have
Correct.
eliminated themselves, right? And then what is happening beyond that, right? Even Dune Prophecy has a very interesting timeline. I'm not talking about timeline. Like the timelines are so long.
Correct.
And similarly with Foundation, just the timeline. People should just watch or read the books from understand. I don't know. Dune Prophecy has a book. Dune has a series. Prophecy, I think, is a pre-equal, and
Correct.
I don't know if it has a book. I haven't read it. But then Foundation, right? It shows that AI. It shows how humans and then the whole AI robotic war, and then what happens, how they co-live, and all of that. I think it's very premature of us to say कि यार अरे AIs will take a job. I think अभी तो हम पहुंचे नहीं, हमारे आधे से ज़्यादा प्रोसेसेस अधूरे हैं. पहले वो तो करते कि ऑटोमेशन जो गैप्स है वो भरें, वो करते करते हमको 50 साल लग जाएंगे.
Easily, yeah.
कहना कि वो जॉब्स ले जाएंगे, फाइन. कुछ फॉर इंस्टेंस लाइक इंडस्ट्रियल ऑटोमेशन is required. Will some of the jobs which don't require specific skill set will go away? Yes, because those can be done by robotic, which humans should not be worried about.
Correct.
They can move up the value chain and do more meaningful jobs in an industrial manufacturing setup, right? And less dangerous for them.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right? Like working in a steel factory and taking all the dust and people falling ill and getting cancer, coal mine. There's so many benefits. I think the intent over here, and I think what people sometimes miss is that I think AI, all these factors are only right now attempting to fill up gaps, workflow gaps across segments.
Redundancies and
right.
Yeah.
जहाँ से हमारा bandwidth थोड़ा खुल जाए, and goes back to the same thing. UPI ने flatten करा, हम DG आते से अंदर घुसे, मेरा आपका दिमाग unclutter हो गया. I think that is where I think the entire industry is heading towards.
Right.
That's the first intent. What will happen after 100 years we'll see. But I think right now AI is helping us.
Correct.
These AI agentic workflows are enabling certain automation.
Correct.
Certain software and infrastructure layers are enabling quicker service, quicker product delivery. So in my opinion, I don't think so. I mean, maybe it's short-sightedness or myopic, but I think there's too much to be done right now.
Correct.
कि वो job जाएगा किसी का, वो
I know, right?
बहुत far है.
Correct. Even I feel that probably this is those एक तो हमने internet वाली बात करी थी 95 to 2000 era, but maybe we can actually go back 20 to 30 years previous to that as well. Maybe this is like 1970s when the machines or some computers were still being created and some workflows at offices and all could be automated. We are still at that stage. So far away from AGI and whatever the vested interest organization. They need to build
there's
that.
a lot of time.
Absolutely.
I think
a lot of problems
we have, and the kind of automation is coming in and the kind of things AI is trying to do, right?
Yeah.
For instance, another case in point is education right now. You and I both have studied in a time where people used to bunk colleges and हम तो college कम जाते थे, बाहर ज़्यादा बैठते थे types, right?
दीवार क्रॉस करके ही जाते थे.
And why were we doing that? Because the curriculum wasn't
stimulating enough.
Now your kid, my kid, how are they going to absorb or take in education in a particular curriculum format is going to be a lot more different from what we've come from,
Correct.
right? How much of it would be, through a 15-minute, video showcase where they're able to absorb certain concepts and then just
Correct.
the whole definition of how we perceive or seek knowledge is changing.
Correct.
Even at our stage, right? We are watching more podcasts, we're listening to more podcasts, right?
Correct.
To keep us alive. गाड़ी में जाते हो हम लोग कुछ लगा दे, कभी आधा टाइम गाना सुना, कभी podcast सुना. I think everybody,
Absolutely.
I do the same thing, right? And it just keeps you informed and what's happening, right? The sense of awareness. When we guys were pursuing education, times were different.
Correct.
Right? So I think AI is enabling these factors.
Correct.
Today discovering a song on Spotify.
Correct.
My old list जो मेरे पास कैसेट और सीडी में रहती थी, आज मैं कुछ सोचता हूँ, ढूंढता हूँ, मिल जाता है, उसकी लिस्ट बन जाती है. It's just simplified the pain of me cleaning my cassettes.
Correct.
20
or
years
going
ago,
and buying.
तो CD में burn करके डाल के.
Correct.
You remember? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
44, so I come from that
No,
generation.
same generation then happened for
Right.
CDs and then DVDs, and imagine those were the times.
I think, and again, these changes are happening, and this is
Yeah.
what AI is trying to solve for
Correct.
right now.
Correct.
Education is going through an overhaul.
Yeah.
And you have better AI solutions, and kids
Correct.
are going to consume different kind of content, and content is going to be there. There's
Absolutely.
bad content, there's good content. So now
100%.
the objective is how do you kind of redefine the curriculum and showcase. This is just an example I'm giving in EdTech.
Absolutely.
Industry 5.0, enterprise
100%,
tech. सब चीज में ये आ गया.
I think LLMs per se are like the days when programming languages were being created, and then the real value gets unlocked when you build applications over it and use these as layers to create more and get more innovative and solve more problems is how I see it. Like this is the days when Python was created and eventually React was created in 2010, 12. And look at how it changed internet for all of us, like the use cases.
Yeah.
That's where we are for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned use cases. So one of the segments which we are deeply looking at is semiconductors and GPUs. The reason for that, the compute power required for the kind of things we guys are working towards is huge, right? So
100%.
government is facilitating. Coming back to the whole ecosystem enablement, government is saying, please, we are allocating a certain budget for semiconductor and GPU building. अगर आप कुछ बना रहे हैं incubation center में, tier 2 city में, tier 3 में, please आइए, ये fund के पास जाइए, या हमारे पास directly आइए, and you please. So इससे बढ़िया चीज तो कभी हुआ नहीं है.
Absolutely.
Right? आपको कोई जो IIT मद्रास में बना रहा था, जो सिर्फ बनाने में काम, they are product guys, they are not business people. Today, for the first time, they have access to money.
Yeah.
They have access to take that money, build a prototype, get a fellow co-founder excited कि तू मेरे साथ बेचेगा इसको.
Correct.
And then if they join hands, then there's a ability to sell a homegrown semiconductor GPU opportunity, which has a market over here, right? So
huge.
It's huge.
Correct.
It's huge,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
As you can see, I'm super excited.
So am I. In fact, just like जब आप नौकरी से बाहर आ जाते हो ना, and then this becomes your survival and looking for problems and looking for ideas, suddenly you start seeing like जैसे कि आँखों को ऑपरेशन हो गया और अब आपको सब दिख रहा है, all the spectrums and all the things that you can solve for is this and that kind of enthusiasm is what I'm seeing in the newer generation. People who are passing out are not only looking for placements कि मेरी कहीं नौकरी लग जाए या 3.2 में TCS Infosys ले जाए and all. People have started कि at least by the time I pass out, I need to build 3 to 4 to 5 projects and let's see if some of them take off. I mean, that kind of enthusiasm, that aankhein khulna of a full generation, I think that is what will propel us to the next level, and probably not even competing with US and all of that, because we will continue to be our own ecosystem and our own market as well.
Absolutely.
With that note, Shashank, I think I have tons of questions which I sent you as well, but I think we are running out of time, but would love to get you back. So much to learn from you. Thank you so much. You've been so kind with your time and thoughts. Any parting thought you would like to share with anyone who's watching us till now? I think been patient enough to listen to two old men talk for 60 minutes. Anything that you would like to?
Yeah, no, I think if you're a founder and you're building in 2025, I think it's a great time, and across domains. That is one. B, I think if you're seeking capital, there are many avenues to seek capital. If you want to reach out to 24/7 VC. And if you're building in deep tech, advanced manufacturing, industry 5.0,
Right.
or enterprise tech, feel free to share your deck on our website.
Right.
There's an application form there. And I think my only, and I said this when you asked me the question around evaluation, I think don't be afraid to make mistakes,
Right.
But also very important, don't be brash about it, that or foolish about it. Ki nahi, मैं start करता हूँ, let me make mistakes. I will make my own mistakes. Today you've got access to mentors, advisors, investors, and people who've made those mistakes.
Right.
So there's enough knowledge in the ecosystem to build out sustainable businesses in lesser time.
Correct.
Learning from others' mistake, right? So, and this is specifically for freshers for building out, right? They have a very unique vantage point of what this generation for the next 10 years wants. They'll be the largest consumers. And you may not have the experience of building business, but today you have many mentors, advisors, fellow investors who've built sizable businesses. So tap into them.
Correct.
Reach out to them. Seek out anybody's time. Take advice.
Correct.
But don't miss out on this opportunity.
Absolutely. With
And
that
thanks for having me.
Thank you so
here.
much. Thanks, Shashank.
Take care.
Pleasure. Thank you. If you've been watching us till now, continue to train, India, conquer, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you.